everyone, this is Jen. I want to take a little bit of time today and kind of go over some stuff that I've learned about how to talk to people. So, a little bit about me. I'm shy. I'm shy. I'm kind of awkward. When I was young, I had ear problems, and it kind of segregated me from people. You know, I couldn't hear what they're saying, so I just kind of followed them. Didn't really interact. So, you know, there's a little bit of that still kind of out there. I still have kind of hearing problems, so I tend to segregate myself. The other thing is I just naturally tend toward non-people things. So I have an engineering degree. I work with computers. So, you know, I've just kind of not really been kind of the people person. So, you know, getting into this network marketing stuff has been interesting to say the least. For me, it's been a great experience because I am kind of going back and learning stuff that I probably should have learned at a much younger age. And it's not so much for me being able to talk to people in general. You know, if I'm out with a group or something and new people come up, I can, you know, usually have a conversation with them, not be too awkward. But a lot of times I'm not the one that initiates the conversations. So I know that too. And, you know, as long as I can do, you know, hey, how's the weather? You know, what do you think about stuff? You know, I could do okay with a conversation. If it goes beyond that, I kind of have some issues. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was a book that I believe Amber recommended. And it's called How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds. Do you see this book? And what I found is that, you know, even though I can have a conversation with people, a lot of times it didn't come across as being maybe real genuine, in that I was scared. I was shy, and trying to have this conversation with a stranger was just kind of terrifying. And this book actually gave me some great tips as far as body language and kind of watching how people react to the things you say. So it's really, really helped me kind of fine-tune being able to talk to strangers in general. So I highly recommend that book. Even if you take away one thing out of it, you know, it was worth it. The other thing, the other book that I just kind of stumbled upon, I'm opening up my phone here, and it's on an audiobook for me, and it's called Icebreakers, How to Get Any Prospect to Beg You for a Presentation. And what this one has done for me is, okay, I'm out with somebody, we're having a conversation, we're having a good time. How do I bring up the business? You know, how do I bring up the products? How do I bring up the business? And I will sit there and kind of freeze. It's like, okay, we're having so much, you know, fun. Just personally, why would I want to kind of ruin that by bringing up the business and them going, ah! Okay, most people don't do that. But if you bring up the business wrong, it does put them off. You know, they're like, and then everything gets kind of awkward after that. And so this is by Tom Schreiter. I think that's how he pronounces it. And he actually talks about that, you know, like you're having dinner with your aunt or something, and how do you bring up the business without putting them off and not being asked back for dinner? So some great tips in there too. I think he goes into like 6 distinct ways of bringing up the business without, without bringing up the business. So it's like a non-failure type of way of doing it. So some great things in there. So between those two books, I've actually learned the most about, you know, how to kind of come out of my shell and be okay with talking with people and not being totally afraid of alienating everybody I talk to. You know, they say that for every 100 people you talk to, on average, you'll get one yes. Well, that's if you know how to approach them. If you keep approaching people with the same verbiage, it may take you a lot longer than 100 people. You have to learn how to adjust, how to change. And these books may actually help you up your average a little bit versus, you know, keeping it at 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 200. The other thing that I want to recommend, and this sounds kind of silly, but is kind of practicing your scripts. So after reading these books, you know, you're going to have some ideas of, oh, you know, I could do this to approach somebody. And it comes down to practice, you know, because we all know the more you do it, the better you get at it. And so if the first 20 people you talk to are your practice 20 people, and you haven't fine-tuned it before you talk to those 20 people, your odds may not be so good with those first 20 people. So practice your scripts. And one of the ways I do this is when I'm in the car. I have actually stopped turning on the radio, kind of feel out of touch, you know, with music right now. But I turn off the radio and I talk to myself. And it's like the first couple times I try and say anything, it's almost like I'm trying to talk to somebody else, and I stumble over my words, and it sounds so stupid and retarded. And it's, sorry, bad word, so stupid and awkward is maybe a better word. And so it's like the more I practice it, the better I get, and the more the script starts sounding like me and not like something I read out of a book. You know, so one of the tips that Tom had mentioned about approaching, you know, let's say approaching a waitress. Great waitress, has a great, you know, personality, thinks, you know, you think she might be a good fit. So one of the things that I sat and practiced in my car was what I was going to say when I ran into a waitress that I thought would be great for this job. And went out to eat last night, and I didn't use the script. But what I ended up doing was basically putting the script on the back of the business card. They were really, really busy last night, and I didn't want to interrupt her job, you know, and maybe that's an excuse. It probably is. But what I was able to do was kind of put the script on the back of my business card and leave my business card at the table for her. So it's a way, when you practice, it's a way of getting that awkwardness out. And so you feel more comfortable saying it even to the first person you want to talk to. So basically those are my tips for today. At the end of this, I'm going to give you the information about these books. But again, it's How to Make People Like You in 90 Seconds or Less. Or less? Oh, yeah, or less. And Icebreakers. How to get any prospect to beg you for a presentation. And then practice. Sit in the car. Sit in the bathroom. Someplace where there aren't any kids. If you could do that. Practice when the kids are in bed. Practice when you have just a few minutes, maybe where you can go outside and hopefully the neighbors won't think you're crazy. That's kind of why I practice in the car. And if somebody thinks I'm crazy in the car, that's okay. So anyway, I hope this helps you guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.